Sebastian Kurz. Photo AFP. Austria is voting in a snap election on Sunday. Follow the results live on the local. The 31-year-old Sebastian Kurz toppled the last government in May when he pulled his conservative OVP out of a coalition with the center-left SPO. Kurz is believed to prefer a coalition with the far-right FPO, which will become the second largest party in the national ret. If polls are to be believed, the SPO were the largest party in government, holding 52 seats. But unpopular refugee policies are set to see them slip to third place this time around. First exit polls show the OVP as clear winners, but official result only to be announced on Thursday. Austrian Chancellor in last-ditch election warning how Austria's far-right leader Streich brought the Freedom Party back from the brink. How Austrian politics could pan out after Sunday's snap election. 8:12 p.m. Austrian president declares Kurz clear winner. Austria's President Alexander van der Bellen has said he will give OVP leader Sebastian Kurz the job of building the next government, if the current exit poll figures are confirmed in the final count. Van der Bellen said Kurz was the clear winner. 7:20 p.m. Vienna stayed loyal to center-left. Results from Vienna showed that the center-left SPO remained the biggest party there. They won 34.9% of votes in the capital, with the OVP trailing behind on 21.6%. 7:05 p.m. A strong mandate to change the country. Sebastian Kurz is also being interviewed on broadcast ORF. This result is a strong mandate for us to change this country, he said before thanking people who voted for him. He added that he would treat the responsibility with great humility. 6:55 p.m. We made mistakes. Chancellor Christina Kern has spoken on broadcast ORF about his election loss. We made mistakes and I can't exempt myself from that. But we've also seen that we have populist right-wing themes, which have been made present by political parties and the media in an unprecedented way, Kern said. Some people have been asking why I didn't play for the tabloids. But I say I did do it in just the same way again, even if it did cost me votes. 6:30 p.m. Exit polls leaving the smaller parties on the edge of their seats. The fourth exit poll has come out, and with each exit poll the picture keeps getting better for Sebastian Kurz. His party has now crept up to 31.7%. Green Party members, meanwhile, will have a long night of it, fearing for their futures. The poll suggests they will miss the 4% cutoff, but only by 0.2%. And with 3/4 of votes counted, things could still change. The Pils party, which was started by former Green politician Peter Pils, is also hovering dangerously close to the 4% cutoff. Fourth exit poll: OVP 31.7%, SPO 27%, FPO 25.9%, Greens 3.8%, NEOS 5.1%, Pils 4.3%. 6:09 p.m. Latest exit poll drops. Political bomb. An exit poll published at 6 p.m. has shaken everything up. The latest figures suggest that the SPO will finish in second place, and that they have in fact increased their vote share. Meanwhile, the exit poll predicts that the Green Party won't get the 4% necessary to make it into parliament. That would be a major shock given the growing influence of the environmentalists in recent elections. The polls also gives Kurz OVP a bigger share of the vote than previous exit polls. Roughly 52% of votes have been counted, with the spots who calculate these things saying there is still a 2.2% margin of error. Third exit poll results: OVP 31.5%, SPO 27.1%, FPO 25.9%, Greens 3.9%, NEOS 5.1%, Pils 4.4%. 6:02 p.m. Far-right leader thanks supporters, as exit polls show his party in second with his arm wrapped around his pet dog. Far-right leader Hans-Christian Streich has published a picture of himself looking pretty pleased. Thanks you so much for your belief and support, he wrote. We want an honest change and in the implementation of policies which benefit the people of Austria. Enough of red-black. Exit polls suggest Streich's FPO will come second with close to 27% of the vote. 5:51 p.m. One of the biggest political upheavals in Austrian history. Politically, scientist Peter Filsmeyer was presumably only referring to post-war history when he described the results as one of the biggest political upheavals in Austrian history. It is the first time that two right-wing parties have come first and second in the voting. One less than delighted voter wrote on Twitter that 57% of Austria has voted for the radical right, accompanying his comment with a video that doesn't make for appetizing watching. 5:45 p.m. Kurz thanks supporters on social media. 5:42 p.m. Green Party politician calls result catastrophe. The result is a catastrophe. It is a defeat for the real questions of the future, the existential questions, said Helga Krismer, spokeswoman for the Green Party in Lower Austria. 5:30 p.m. Second exit polls shores up first prediction. A further exit poll has been published, which should be more accurate as it takes more counted votes into account. Its results are almost identical to those of the first exit poll. OVP 30.5%, FPO 26.8%, SPO 26.2%, Greens 4.7%, NEOs 5.3%, Pills 4.3%. One thing that both exit polls show: far fewer voters went for really small parties. The share of votes for other has dropped by roughly 9% in comparison with 2013. 5:23 p.m. 6 parties have made it into the national rat. According to exit poll, Austria has a 4% barrier for entry into the national parliament. That means that 6 parties seem to have made it into the national rat, with the Greens, NEOs and Pills set to win seats alongside the 3 bigger parties. 5:16 p.m. Big gains for right-wing parties. If exit poll is accurate, the exit polls are telling us one thing loud and clear already: the right-wing parties have made big gains at the cost of center-left parties. Both the OVP and the FPO have gained over 6% in comparison with the last election in 2013, so that is a combined gain for the right of 12.5%. While the SPO have lost 0.5% of their vote share, the Greens have taken a big hit. They dropped 7.5%. 5:10 p.m. Kurz OVP wins election according to first exit poll. According to the Sora exit poll, the OVP will be the biggest party in the next parliament with 30.2% of the vote. The center-left SPO and the far-right FPO are neck and neck on 26%. The results: OVP 30.2%, FPO 26.8%, SPO 26.3%, NEOs 5.3%, Green Party 4.9%, List A Pills 4.3%. 5:01 p.m. Refugees have been central campaigning topic. Much like in Germany last month, the refugee crisis has been the central theme of the election, broadcaster Phoenix reports. Sebastian Kurz rarely took longer than a minute to mention refugees or political Islam in the campaign. 4:51 p.m. Should we believe the polls? Germany's Bild Zeitung is claiming that 1 million of the 6.4 million eligible voters have not made up their minds. With turnout predicted to be high, Bild speculates that the result could be less of a foregone conclusion than people are assuming. In around 10 minutes we should find out. 4:36 p.m. Hackers take down OVP website. Anyone wanting to get a bit of last-minute info on what the OVP stand for is out of luck. Hackers have taken down the site with a so-called DDoS attack. 4:28 p.m. Mayor of Vienna concedes he is not a prophet, just a little mayor. Here's some Austrian charm for you. Mayor Michael Haupel of Vienna has just told the journalist who wanted a prediction on the result: Prophet bin ich keiner nur kleiner Bürgermeister, which translates into normal German as Prophet bin ich keiner, nur ein kleiner Bürgermeister. Adorable. 4:21 p.m. Austrians keen on getting home before their dinner gets cold. Sebastian Kurz released a video for the election campaign which gave Austrians literally no insights into his political vision, but did tell them that he likes going for a cycle with his dad on the weekends, and that when he gets home his mum has some wholesome grub waiting for them on the table. If the briskness with which the polling stations close is anything to go by, it seems like most Austrians like to get their voting done before the dinner gets cold, too. Some polling stations in the west of the country close at 1 p.m. presumably so the folk there could fit in a spaziergang in the Alps before they get home for their Gymnodal. 4:16 p.m. Official results only published on October 31st. While there will be some pretty accurate exit polls coming out this evening, you will have to wait until the end of the month for the official result. And no, we're not keeping up the live blog till then. The new National Radic Parliament will meet on November 9th for first time. 4:09 p.m. Results to be announced shortly after 5 p.m. The first Hochrechnung of the results will be announced just minutes after polls close at 5 p.m. While this estimate tends to be relatively accurate, it does not include postal votes. More accurate exit polls will then be published throughout the evening.